back then, so you were going to CIS, right? 即係其實而家因為我哋 part of 我嘅 service 係我幫好多家長報國際學校啦，and then actually I just had one parent like call me today and was like, hey, 我想轉去 CIS 啊，我知道好 difficult 㗎，咁點can you help me？咁from my perspective 咧，我覺得 CIS is super prestigious because obviously it's the academic requirement 好高啦。But also it's like the people, like the parents, the circle that's there. Right. And I just want to ask, what was your CIS experience like?
Yeah, so CIS was the choice I made to go to CIS came out of the blue, like really. The Hangzhou program was what caught me in first place, and I was actually like one of the first batch of people to go there. So we were the hamsters. We were the people being experimented on, but it was very different from CAIS, Christian Alliance International School, because of as you said, the intensity, the everyone was in the race. You can kind of tell for some reason, and I was very not used to that. I felt like a fish out of water a lot of the time, and it's amazing like how like really grateful for how my mom arranged everything so that at the end I could just like land on my feet and like take off. And the experience there, I think it's like two different ways, right? First of all, I have the boarding experience in Hangzhou, where I had to live abroad for for 1 year in a off campus somewhere and learning how to live by myself and take care of myself. I think that experience really influenced my decisions, like further down the line a lot. I met at the same time it was like an introduction to what CIS was like, and it was so nice from what I'm used to, like kids would be chauffeured, or like they had security guards, and then they would fly in like dance instructors and stuff like that for a monthly cotillion paid by a parent.
Wow.
I was not used to it. It was very crazy. Definitely I did not fit in as well as I wished I could. Like it wasn't 100% amazing experience, but I think it taught me a lot of skills on how to, talk to people, navigate. I was very socially awkward back then.
So. I think you look. I mean, from our perspective, 可能你即係我覺得啦，because when I was tutoring you, like one thing that stood out was you could communicate with me almost like you're an adult. Like, that's one of the things that like actually surprised
really?
me. So maybe you were just too mature for your own age. I feel like that was the case. But
I hope so.
I want to circle back to your Hangzhou experience. Like when you look back, like currently, so I didn't, like I'm gonna have this in the introduction, but you're currently in the States, right? Like, so you transferred from Penn State to Northeastern University.
Northeastern in Boston,
Yeah. And so like looking back, right, you've been studying abroad for quite a bit. So looking back at your Hangzhou experience, like, what are some takeaways that have benefited you? Like,
It was a really good time to learn to deal with my problems, right? Like, because when you're at home with your family, you're able to just talk them through every single day, basically when you come back home, and then like talk through your problems with them. But then in Hangzhou, it's kind of like the distance itself is a limiting factor. You can't really like always call up and say, I have problems. Can you help me through my problems? That sort of, it can go two ways, really. It can just make you a miserable person, or it can actually foster some sort of independence and foster kind of like your self-confidence in yourself. To know that in these situations, like I'm able to handle most problems that I thought I couldn't handle before. And it's to have that experience pretty early on is, I think, is the reason why I've been more unconventional in the way like I made my educational choices, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's
because mostly
we're going to talk about your education choices later, but like to be honest, 即係我覺得you know the student should be in charge of educational choices, right? It's their path, right? 即係你讀咁多年書，即係如果你自己都冇一個 certain direction, you know, in terms of what you want to do, 咁that you know what are you doing then, right?
And Hangzhou was like a great time because there's so much free time, right? I'm taken away from all my tutor, from you, from fencing. That was like one of the big things that happened, and I had to figure out what to do with my time. And honestly, whenever a student, like anyone, I think, is given that situation, you know, it's pretty much, I'm gonna be honest, it's bad habits first. That's gonna happen because you're so used to being told what to do during a given time frame. And for me, I was really used to that. And then that transition to a place where I had ultimate freedom, in a sense, was pretty overwhelming. And I just did not know what to do with myself for the first 2 months. Most of the time.
It's a learning process, right? 即係我啲學生去 boarding school 都係，因為有時譬如頭幾個月都係 figuring it out, you know, and the parents are super anxious and they're like, oh, is everything okay? You know, you gotta let things like, you know, kind of run its course a bit. 即係 obviously 即係如果真係好大問題，真係 you know 要出聲啦。